Well, like I was thinking, like, so you know how like people can get breast reductions?
Yeah.
Do you think that like a vet would be able to give a giraffe a neck reduction?
Uh,
Like,
you,
or because it's so much bone and muscle, like,
you
would it
think
be
it,
too much for the giraffe? But then, like, if you did give it a neck reduction, would that not just make it like a spotted horse at that point?
smell that? That's the smell of being back and better than ever, baby. Welcome back to the Vault, Season 2 premiere. I'm Smalls with Thoughts from the Bench. This is the weekly show that takes a look back at some of the best and worst jerseys in sports. With me, as always, is the incomparable, the funniest man on the internet, the funniest co-host on the internet, and the only one that I want on this journey with me, Benny Buckets. How have you been? How's it going? How you feeling?
The boys are back in town. We're fucking back, dude. Sorry, we're keeping it. That is another thing that we'll lead into. Gonna make it a little bit of a cleaner show, but that one was needed. I am so psyched to be back. It has been too long. Granted, it was for good reasons. For good things going on in our lives, getting into busy times, doing adult things. But hey, the boys are back, and I think we came out with a bang in season one, but they don't know. They don't
I
know
don't know.
what is coming in season two. This show is dude, I'm having a stroke. This is just I'm so psyched. I'm so excited to be back. And I've been good. I've been impatient because I've been waiting for today
Mm-hmm.
for months. How about you, man? How are you?
Dude, I have been itching to get back to doing this. This is my favorite thing to do, and it was one of those things where I was doing the college football show with Deke. Love doing that because I'm a big college football guy.
Genuinely a fan, not bullshitting you, not sucking up because of uh, you know,
Hmm.
us doing a show together. Like even like putting jealousy aside, genuinely was a big fan of the show. Like really liked you and Deke's dynamic. And I actually pay attention to college football.
Hmm.
So getting to hear more information and kind of get your guys' opinions, Deke threw a couple shots at me here or there, but
Yeah.
he can't do a show like I can. So it's all right. It was by far the second best show you've ever done.
Well,
So
yeah, that's true. Yeah. I
yeah.
so doing draft day is fun. Doing draft day, but I don't really have much input on that. I just kind of show up, and I like that. I kind of like just showing up and just kind of BSing with the boys, bowling with the fellas.
Well, I feel like it's kind of got to be a little like load off your shoulders that you
It's
just get to show up and talk. Because it's what you do for me every week.
mhm.
I get to just show up and talk to you. And for those who don't know, Smalls does all the behind the scenes stuff. Like anything that puts the show together outside of me talking is done by him. So I feel like you kind of got to be on the other side of that,
Mhm.
where you get to just show up, you BS, and you kick it with the guys,
Yep.
and the topics are always good.
Mhm.
Topics are always good on that show. So like you kind of get to relax. Now I dragged you back into your more director
This is my
producer
role.
role, but
This is my
but
role.
this is where you're supposed to be, Smallsy. This is where you were supposed to be at.
Yep. I'm gonna throw it back. I don't know if you remember this. It was the night before Thanksgiving, and all through the
Yes.
Kiski Valley.
Yeah.
So we were at me and Ben. If you're new to the show, me and Ben, we did go to high school together. Pretty good buddies through high school. Played soccer together and all that. But we both grew up in the same hometown, right? And one of uh one of the bars is just like it was honestly my first time going to the Okie. On
Ever.
I'd been to the Okie like one other time, and it was like right as I turned 21. It was like, what else are we gonna do when we get home? But I don't really. We've always gone down to like Pittsburgh or like
Oh yeah, yeah,
Oakland or
yeah.
something because like Nate was always down there. But like I've never really been to the Okie on Thanksgiving Eve, and one of the first people of course you see some of the normal people you're gonna see at a hometown bar, but you were one of the first people I see, and of course both of us just eyes bugged like, oh
Oh,
my god, no,
it was like no way. Oh, it was awesome, and it was so pure because I genuinely like didn't expect to see it.
me
Hell, I'll
neither,
be honest, I didn't expect to end up there the night before
me us
Thanksgiving,
either.
but I mean, things happen. But it was like I saw because especially in things like that, anybody who's watching the show, if you are above drinking age, you know that it's just like a thing that you go to a hometown bar the night before Thanksgiving. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
just like that's just what people do.
Mm-hmm.
And like in doing that, you're gonna see a lot of people that you probably don't like or like would be like totally fine with if they like just never talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
But like I'm seeing a lot of people like that outside of like the group that I physically went with was just like a bunch of people that I'm like, oh, whatever. I physically ran into you,
Yeah.
like legitimately, like made body contact,
Mm-hmm.
and was like, "Get out of here,
Yeah.
dude! Like, there's no way."
Yeah.
And it was like, hey, man, and I remember literally just talking to you, like, hey, I can't wait to get back to work,
Well,
and it
that's
was like,
exactly what I was gonna say. Was like you.
yeah,
I know you've been itching. I've been itching. And obviously life kind of, in a good way. Life kind of it took over in the fall. You got your boys to the state playoffs, so congrats on that. We're
thank you.
catching the people up a little bit. Ben's a hotshot high school soccer coach now. Actually, like it's
Thank
not
you.
just me like making fun of him. Like he actually is a really good coach. Got his team to the playoffs for his first year as a head coach. So that was awesome. And
Thank you.
we and of course I'm up in New England right now. I don't know for how much longer,
Yeah,
but
doing work and going to Celtics games and Bruins games and doing the whole New Englander
Sox
vibe.
games,
What? Sox games, living it up out there, dude.
yeah, everywhere but
As
Gillette.
best as you can while you can.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it,
Well, that's
Yeah, I'm not mad about that. The one guy I work with, he's a big Cowboys fan, and the Cowboys played the Patriots at Gillette this year, and he wanted to
yeah.
see, if we wanted to go. I was like, if we get a group to go, I'll go. But like that is like the one Boston thing I don't need to do is go to Gillette.
Yeah, like you're kind of like indifferent. If it happens, it happens. If not, like, you're not sweating over missing that or anything.
Yeah, exactly. But regardless, both of us were kind of doing our own thing, but I think both of us knew, and we called each other a few times. We talked. We still kept in touch. Obviously, we didn't. It wasn't just radio silence, of course. But
Oh
like,
yeah.
we wanted to get back. We both just kept saying, "Hey, we wanted to get back. Wanted to get back. Hey, what's the plan for coming back?" And like, we were
Well,
both
and I
hungry.
think that's one thing that people who don't know us don't understand, and the people who do know us, I think, like don't remember is that like we're like legit friends,
Yeah,
and it's not just like doing a show. So and especially with you not living around the area anymore, like this is when we get to hang out.
yeah,
And this is when we virtually get to like hang out, have a drink, talk some sports, talk some jerseys, crack some jokes. Like this is us getting to hang out. So it's not even so much of people watching the vault. Like you're literally watching like me and one of my friends and vice versa just hang out
yep,
for 30 minutes to an hour and 15 minutes, depending on how the episode goes,
yeah,
like every week. And it was
mm-hmm,
just kind of one of those things that like I understood how and why you were busy. You understood how and why I was busy.
mm-hmm,
And it was like, okay, but things are starting to calm down. Let's get back to it. And
yeah,
oh, dude, I like genuinely, I know that, we've been hyping it up a lot on socials and things like that. But like in my heart, dude, like I am through the friggin' roof that we're back.
yeah. Absolutely. I think we got that hunger back. And again, not that it ever really left. You know what I mean? But it does. It gives you more of an appreciation for what you do if you kind of take a step back and kind of let it simmer for a sec, because then you get new ideas. You try to think about how you want to improve it. And what's weird is, yeah, like obviously I think the big drive this season is to grow the audience a little bit, and
Mhm.
part of it is just on the back end, posting more clips. I got like some graphics lined up, that sort of thing. But we were talking, it's like we don't really want to change the show that much. We kind of came out of it saying, hey, we want to tune it
wanna
up.
keep we want to keep the bones of it.
Yeah.
It's like the structure of the show is not going to be any different. It's
Yeah.
going to be us BS, and it's going to be about the same, if not similar topics. Like, I mean, we're going to branch out, but you know what I mean? Like, stay in the same vein. We're not losing our identity with the show, but it's like, I think we have collabed to make some tweaks and have some suggestions, whether that be about topics, segments, guests, whatever, like to just make the show better. And I'm so stoked, dude, because I feel like we're gonna just keep climbing. And that was the whole point of doing a second season, was because, like you said, like, you don't want this to get stale, because if we do this every week, we're gonna burn through topics, we're gonna run out of things to talk about, and it's going to get monotonous. I think having the break, it was like good enough for not only us, but like the audience as well, to like miss us and want us back, to where like now, and I'm not saying that selfishly, like we have this giant fan base or whatever. Like, I just mean genuinely, for anybody who did enjoy the show, including us, to like be like, hey man, it's been too long. I'd like for those guys to come back. And I'm the biggest proponent of that, man. I wanted us to come back, aside from you, more than anybody. So the fact that we're finally here, man, like, I know it's a weird thing to say, but it's surreal. I'm glad we're back. I'm glad we're back in the groove of things. And I think season 2 is going to knock some socks off.
Absolutely. So before we really jump into it, if you're tuning in for the first time, we're not going to do this every episode, but I at least want to give you some background on what the show actually is, right? So The Vault started off as a blog. It was one of the first things I did at Thoughts from the Bench back when I was, in school. I was just obsessed with jerseys, man. Like, I had, I have a lot more now, but back in the day, I had a few, and the thing to do at Penn State was just go to parties with a jersey on.
It's a classic move.
Yeah, especially day longs or darties or whatever else you want to call it. That was the attire. You show up in a jersey, right? And I was just obsessed with like looking to see what weird random jerseys these dudes were wearing, and just going up and paying a compliment. Like, even this past weekend, I went to the Bruins game, and I didn't want to wear my Pens jersey. I could have, but they weren't playing the Pens or anything.
Risky.
Yeah. So I wore my Danny Heatley Sharks jersey, and I got many a compliment.
Fire. Yeah. Especially like if you're going to go with like a retro player that was well liked, that like doesn't play anymore, like
Cult
that
following.
hits so hard.
Yeah. And like the dudes behind me, they were like, oh, look at this guy, Heatmeister. And like, it was just, it was, I take it, that just made me feel good, because it's what I love. I just love jerseys, right? So I've always kind of had that. And I was writing it for a while. Deke wanted me to kind of make it into some sort of show, whether it was just a clip every week or whatever. I tried it just by myself. Did not work. Those things will never see the light of day, and I promise you that, because they were that bad. Then I kind of fell out of the fold from TFTB for a while. Wanted to come back. Didn't really know what I wanted to do, right? And I was like, well, what's been the staple the whole time? The Vault. But I was like, I can't do it the same way. I want to bring someone else on. Ben was the first guy to bring in. So it was classic. And like, the structure of the show really is, we're going to come in each week with a topic. It can literally be anything sports related, movie related, just us spitting off the top of our head, good, bad, it doesn't matter. We just want to talk jerseys. But I think more importantly than that, we use the jerseys as a centerpiece to talk about whatever we want to talk about. That's like the vein,
exactly. It's literally just, it's the spark for us to light off other things, and I think like that's, you and I had talked when we were doing, I guess what would be considered like production meetings in a sense of like, we didn't want to change and man, I'm gonna sound like a horoscope girl here for sure, but like the free spirit of the show. We didn't want to police ourselves. We didn't want to have to change why people like it. And it's, I mean, like, we've had people literally say that their favorite part is when we do kind of veer off, but we're all like, when we start BSing and going off on a tangent or whatever, it all stems from what we were doing originally. So like it all comes full circle. We love to tie that stuff together. But like, I think that we found such a good rhythm in season one that now I feel like that was like the hard part, was figuring out who we were, what the show was for season one. And now that we're rolling into season two, as long as this thing goes, I feel like we're just rolling.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've said it before, and maybe I haven't articulated it that well, but dude, sports are a unifier. Period. Whether it's your community, like back home in Pittsburgh, everyone rallies around the teams. Even if you're not a Giant fan, it's just sports are a unifier. And what better way it's just a conduit through which you can talk about sports and everything that branches off of that, whether it's memories, good times, bad times, just stuff that pops into your head because you see something. It's just an avenue for us to do it. And at the bottom line, the core of the show is it's just a few guys, whether it's just us or sometimes we might have guessed just a few guys getting together, having a drink, and just BSing, bullying with the boys. Just guys being dudes and having fun. That's all it is.
Just guys being dudes, dude. I mean, how many times did we say that?
Much. It's a broken record, man.
Like, yeah, and it's like word vomit. Like I just have nothing better else to say. That's just what it is,
Yep.
So
yep.
But hey, and this would, or if we're still doing ad reads,
we are. I was going to get to that in a sec.
Do you mind if whenever we get to that, if I take a crack at it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I had to pull it up, but I'm glad you said that. Do you still have the piece of paper?
Just whenever you're ready.
Okay. All right. So just heads up. Really not much is gonna change, like we said. The one thing that, and we've already kind of broken the rule a few times. Thoughts from the bench. At least to start out this year, the New Year's resolution: less cursing. It's gonna be hard, and especially on this show, and it comes so naturally. I don't think that this show was the reason that Deke wanted to do it. But part of it is like if we're gonna grow, it is a weird thing. But if you stop cursing a ton, it does help the channel grow.
Yeah, in the every now and then.
Yeah, sometimes
I think it was. Yeah, sometimes we do got to remember that we're on a show and not at the Okie the night before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah,
it's that's the one tweak.
Yeah. So that's one change. Obviously we're gonna try to bring in some new guests. Me and Ben we've talked about it. We do want to bring in guests. Bring back in guests eventually. Not gonna be right away because I think obviously we want to get back into the groove of things. We like when just us because we can just go off. That's some of our favorite episodes, like minor league baseball last year. We went all over the place. So that's another thing to note. So we're gonna try to bring some of the same people on, some definitely different people on, and then on top of that too. I don't know if we might have talked about it, before, whenever we talked last week. Your boy might be moving back to Pittsburgh. So there's more potential.
Let's go.
More potential
Let's go.
for us to maybe do a few more shows in person. Might not be every week. Obviously, we haven't talked about that, but I think there's at least potential for that. And, doing it through Zoom's fine. I love it, but
it works. We make it work. But if you and I get in the same room to do the show, it's mayhem.
Yeah. Yeah. So that'll be upcoming as well. Not sure what kind of timeline that'll be on, but just wanted to make that note too. But last thing before we get into the ad read, Ben, with our wonderful sponsor, what are you drinking tonight? You couldn't leave me hanging episode 1, so
never. And now, because I want you to come back to Pittsburgh, okay? And I love the city that we are the most often streamed through. There was no better way than to crack open a nice, in honor of We Love You, Seven.
Love you,
I
Seven.
see light.
We love you, Seven. Thank you, Seven.
Love you, Seven.
I see light. That's what I like to see. Iron City. Nothing better. Of course, I'm drinking some Irish whiskey. in celebration, of course. Not that I drank anything else really, but got some
Well,
Tullamore Dew.
it's a celebration.
It's a staple.
You know,
It's a staple.
Rick James said that once.
You did some nose aerobics, yeah. None of that tonight, but so Ben, surprise ad read tonight. I thought I was going to take this one just because we were coming back. Go ahead.
You want to know who's still whipping people's fat asses like myself into shape? His name's Will Marshall. Last season, you saw that we introduced him as a sponsor to the show, and he partnered up with us again for season 2, and there's nobody else that we would rather come in and join the vault. Will is just a world-class person and a wonderful trainer. He uses the MyFitnessPal app to help you create your workout plans and then track also what you're eating, your diet, and your schedule of your workouts. And that's another thing, that schedule. Will's going to work with you on your time. He's not going to make it so that you have to fit his schedule. He's going to fit yours because he's that selfless of a personal trainer. If you get in contact with him, it would either be through most likely Marshall Fitness on Facebook. You can also reach out to his Instagram handle, which we have on here. You can also shop some sick merch if you do the research. Get yourself some Will Marshall Fitness tees. That logo Will is dedicated to getting you to your fitness goals based on what you have available around you. And he's been working wonders for plenty of people, and you could be next. So please check out Marshall Fitness. We love that guy.
Love that guy. All right, season 2 premiere. Wanted to start off with a bang. Hit something that really is like the core of the show. And I mean, if you saw any of the promos for the show, if you haven't, go back and watch it. I spent a lot of time learning how to do the first one with the whole motion tracking thing. But nostalgia's it. Like the one with the dude falling in.
Be.
Yeah, falling into the water is just nostalgia. We just immerse ourselves in nostalgia. So this week, starting off, all we want to do is just talk about jerseys that just bring on a nostalgic feeling, whatever that means to either one of us. This one it's broad. It's just whatever brings us back.
No holds barred.
No holds barred. That's what I like to hear. I don't really have anything else, Ben. You want to just jump into it?
Let's go, dude. Let's go.
What do you got?
Listen, I had to come out with some heat for the first one. There is a reason that the Phoenix Coyotes brought this back in a retro sense, okay? This is gas. You got like the Aztec type trim. You've got that awesome logo of the actual Coyote. And we are a big fan of big logos, okay? That's our thing. If you watched any of the show last season, you will know what we're working with here, okay? That logo is awesome. The color tones in it and the multiple colors, it's not just one bland color being slapped on there. There's a lot of intricate detail to this, okay? And Phoenix, you wouldn't think would be a big hockey town, right? I mean, it's just, especially, it's literally in the middle of the desert that's supposed to support a sport on ice. But Phoenix was like relatively new, like when we were being birthed and whatnot. They're a younger franchise. But I remember growing up really into the Pens, right? We grew up in a hockey town, and so we support the Pens. We watch a lot of games growing up. Like, that's what we are birthed into, a set of skates basically at that point. And I remember, like, this is the Coyotes team that I remember. This is how they looked. This is, their color scheme with the red and the green. A lot of people weren't like super pumped about or whatever. I think it's awesome. And maybe that is just part of me hooking myself on nostalgia, that this is what I remember as a little kid. And that logo was the best. Like, to me, that is still one of the best logos, period. And granted, that's in my opinion, but this is all our opinion. But I really like genuinely just the details of like the trim around the bottom of the jersey and the neckline and on the sleeves, and obviously the logo on the front is undefeated. This is one that takes me back to the age that I was like when I fell in love with hockey as a kid, so I had to throw it on.
Yeah, this is one of those things that the logo is so recognizable and so different and so fits. It's so fitting for Arizona. It's just, it has that, I don't want to say, Native American feel, but it just has that like desert feel to it,
No, it's got a feel that's like directly related to their culture
Mm-hmm.
in Arizona. Also, real quick, is that an alien over dude's right shoulder? You see
And
what I'm talking about? Right. I
yeah,
think that might be like a legitimate like rode a UFO down here alien guy.
interesting. I've never seen that before. I didn't notice that. That might be an alien. And they're among us, man. If we've learned
Well,
anything through COVID, it's that the government, they're trying to, no matter what, I don't care what side you're on, there were some weird leaks going on with UFOs during this whole COVID thing. And aliens are among us. And that might be a sign right there.
yeah, or there might just be peyote in this icy light, and
Maybe. Maybe that's the key.
I'm seeing things. Maybe it is, and it opens a door
There we go.
to extraterrestrials.
That's a wild way of thinking about it. This is what we do on the vault. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's what we do. No, I mean, this is iconic. I'm glad that they brought it back. And like you said, the colors fit. The trim is awesome. It's so unique, and probably at the time people hated it. But just like we've talked about before on the show, just because people hated it back then doesn't mean that it doesn't work now.
exactly. Doesn't mean that it doesn't slap.
Yeah.
I mean, now we have gone over some jerseys in the past that they never work,
Yeah.
like ever.
And we'll
But
get to
this
those.
is one that I feel like did, at least for me as a kid, but maybe that's why, because I was a kid
Yeah.
and I'm carrying it on now. But especially what they did from the retro sense and like kind of tweaking it and bringing it back, dude. I don't know. I just always loved it, and I kind of love, like I said, like cities like that. That it's a sport that doesn't make sense, but they have a cool team or a good team. Like same with like same sport, Florida Panthers in hockey,
Yeah.
like another hot, muggy city
Mm-hmm.
that, or well, Florida's a state, but you get what I mean. But like, and they have a hockey team. I think that's awesome. I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Elite first pick. This is what we're all about. So I think we've talked about the logo before too. We might have even talked about this jersey. I don't really care. It doesn't matter. Like it fits. Like, and we'll have repeats on the show. I guarantee it. Just because.
It's gonna happen from time to time, especially with how like, because you and I can say are like very thorough
Mm-hmm.
in terms of like knowing what we think is good and knowing what we think is bad, and we don't care if we're bringing back to hammer a jersey one way or the other.
Yeah.
Like, hey, this is so bad or this is so awesome.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna go out of our way to do both. And I think we brought up the retro one, but
Mm-hmm.
even if we did do this one again, doesn't matter. It's sick enough.
Yeah, I can't remember if it was the logo or the jersey that we talked about. I think it's definitely come up before. I just don't remember which one. It slaps regardless. I don't care. I don't care. Slaps. So we're gonna go to my first pick. Same
Hey,
state.
same state,
Same
same
state.
state, same gas.
Same gas. Especially with the guy throwing gas here. Randy
The
Johnson.
Dove Killer.
Randy Johnson, the dude that clocked in at 102 miles per hour multiple times in his career. So this is quintessential 90s baseball. It really does take me back to the 90s, right? So you got just the colors alone. You got the purple, which we've talked about on the show before. Purple can definitely work. It's not one of those, I want to say, traditional colors, but for whatever reason, purple works in sports. I don't know what it is. Pair that with the teal, which I think is not too bright of a teal, but it's just that cool, almost like a coastal Carolina feel, where it's like almost a
Deep.
lighter blue. Yeah, and like, so I love the logo on the front, just the diagonal lettering on the front. Just like a lot of baseball jerseys. The way that the diamond fits spread over the backs, in the logo works perfectly. Obviously the colors just combine for just a beautiful jersey. Pinstripes are a bold move for anyone that is not the New York Yankees, but it was the '90s, and these guys pulled it off in spades. Plus, if you look at the logo on the hat, uh, that is just it's an all-time baseball logo. Just
Great logo.
the rattlesnake pattern on the A for Arizona is just perfect. Pair that really with the dude that threw so hard he just vaporized a bird. Like,
Yeah, Randy Johnson, like to me, like I know like Hall of Fame pitcher, but like to me, it's like Randy Johnson resume, Hall of Fame baseball pitcher, dove killer.
Yeah.
That's immediately what I think. And like I remember people were saying that they thought it was like a magic trick, like he was pulling some David Blaine stuff or whatever. Like they were like, oh, like how did that happen? I'm like, yeah, Randy Johnson, hillbilly Randy Johnson took time to create a magic trick in the middle of an MLB professional game. You dinguses.
Yeah.
See, hey, I held myself there. I'm gonna start racking up points for how many times I keep myself from dropping something.
Yep.
Because I'm trying to break records for myself. Because if any of you know, my mouth and your local Porta John might twin. So
Yeah. Very dirty. Yeah. Slimy.
We're working. Hey, and speaking of that, I do kind of like that the D is bigger on both ends of diamond, because it does matter if the D's big. And being on both sides of the logo, you're surrounded by big D. Yeah. So I think that helps make the jersey pop.
It does help make the jersey pop. And like I've definitely referenced this before. But the 90s were I don't know what it was, but purple with teal in the 90s. That's just what it was. It was like those
Dude,
the
cups.
The milkshake cups, the jazz design or whatever you want to call it.
The cups, yeah.
And I think I made that comparison with the jazz jerseys whenever I did that last year. But like, it works. I don't know what it is. It just kind of takes you back to a time where that was just a thing. I don't know how to explain it, but it takes you back and makes me want to like go back and find my like old baseball cards or play like World Series Baseball 2K on my Sega Dreamcast. Like it's just great jersey, all around great jersey, and sported by a guy that won the Cy Young that year. So,
hell yeah,
yeah,
that's a great pick. Great pick. Same state. Look at us.
I know, right?
Lining things up.
We didn't even try to do that.
We didn't lose a step.
No,
we didn't lose a step.
Nothing. All right, Ben, what do you got?
All right, baseball again. Great transition. Go from Arizona to Arizona, then baseball to baseball. Wow, we're good. Tampa Bay, this is back when they still were the Devil Rays, which I wish was still the case. I know Tampa Bay Rays flows better, but Devil Rays just plays ball, and I think especially with the black. Being the Devil Rays, I love the dark color and the helmet and their logo. I mean, look, I'm not big on anything rainbow related in sports. Like there is a Hawaii Rainbow Warriors thing that they tried making play that I just feel like it's too many colors. You know what I mean? That could be if there was 15 different shades of orange on a jersey. Like it's too much going on. Mm-hmm. But this is like a subtle colorway across just the logo. It doesn't branch out onto the jersey. The jersey is still very dark, which I like. And that ray, the actual ray swooping underneath is just like, because it's not a giant logo like the Coyotes logo, but it's subtle enough, but still cool because, I mean, stingrays are cool, dude. Manta rays, devil rays, whatever. It's cool, but it's just big enough to matter and to show. And then the rays, being that the whole thing is black, I think the multiple colors play so well. And like, to me, this was like, and I chose this specific picture for a reason. The mustache. The sunglasses, the logo. Like, to me, this is like, I grew up watching that guy play baseball and 400 dudes that look just like that guy. Mm-hmm. Like, it was like, this to me is triggering like so many ancient serotonin flicks in my head from watching baseball as a kid that I'll be honest, I don't think I could give I don't think I could give two craps. There we go. Another one. I don't think I could give two craps about baseball now. I'll be 1,000% honest unless I'm there. And, the Pirates have just frustrated me to a point beyond investing my emotions anymore. Yeah. But like, this makes me remember like, hey, like baseball was cool at a point. And I think that this jersey is close to the epitome of that. Like the look of it, the name, and Tampa Bay, they were a newer franchise as well, that it was like that, hey, we're trying to get different cities relevant and do different things. And I'll tell you what, like one thing, how many people do you know are fans of a place that they're not originally from because they like the way they look or their jerseys or their
Mhm.
logos or their name, like that stuff plays. And this is something that made me like the Devil Rays because I like the name and I love the jerseys.
Yeah. So normally, like you said, the colors, there can be too much going on, and I will say I've seen it. I think the '90s were a big culprit of this. Whether it can work out really well or not, just based on like what people feel about the jerseys now, but the whole like Microsoft Paint transition from like yellow down to purple down there. But looking
Yeah.
at it, it makes me think of like a pair of like blue and yellow pit vipers. You know what I mean? Like the reflective
Yeah.
lenses. So like, and what's more '90s than like those
That's gonna
shades?
send it. Yeah.
Um.
Oh yeah, dude.
So
The
no,
shades paired with a mustache, like you don't know if this dude's gonna rake a homer or pull you over driving home from the stadium. Like
yeah.
that's what the guy looks like, and to me, that's '90s baseball. He's either a cop or a baseball player. You know what I mean? There's like 100 whites who look just like the guy, and I love that.
Yeah, I also love how this was like the mustache era for sure, like the '90s. Then you creep right into the early 2000s, and you got the dad facial hair where it's just like the mustache going
Oh
down into
yeah,
the goatee, like Mark
yeah, the
McGuire.
tight goatee. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. But
Oh,
like,
that's awesome. Like, is that guy obviously legend, but also like you could look at him and be like, oh yeah, he's a high school baseball coach.
oh
You
yeah,
know what I mean?
oh yeah.
And hey, that's another thing too. This guy's also a cop and he coaches his son's baseball team. Like that's who this guy is, and that plays, dude.
I'm pretty sure this guy coached my little league team at some point. I'm not sure. Like, I don't know if that's true, but like, I'm pretty sure he did. But like, yeah, all great, great second pick. I mean, like the colors, especially the black. The black kind of smacks. And like you said, the
I
double ray.
love it, dude.
Yeah, the
Yeah. Oh yeah, they should have stayed Devil Rays. I
Yeah,
think.
well, yeah, the Devil Rays, just the name itself, I wish they would go back to that. But even just the thing on the logo, it's like the swoop, and they made it work. The swoop underneath, like the classic, like
Yes.
beer league softball tee, they made that, but with the Devil Ray, and that's
Yeah, and
awesome.
it didn't distort the way it looked.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like it didn't distort the logo or make the jersey look too wide because there are logos and stuff who like even though it's physically not doing anything optically and aesthetically, it makes the jersey look weird, like too long or too wide, like because of what they're trying to fit on there. But this is perfectly done.
yeah, absolutely phenomenal second pick. Let's go to mine. I'm gonna go. This might be a
Roll it
little
in.
different. Might be not the first like non-90s pick, but I'm gonna go with the 2007.
Waka bucket.
Let's go. The 2007 Hawaii Warriors football team. So, um, obviously, I've said it before. If you followed the bench at all or just know me, I'm a giant college football fan. That's like all I really care about during the fall. Like the NFL is obviously like number two, like, and it's a very close number two. But college football, I don't know what it is about it. I love it. And this jersey came out right in that time frame where got really into college football, and I have the same level of fandom since. But I remember watching this dude, Colt Brennan, which I don't know if you.
R.I.P.
Yeah, I'm the same. Like if you guys are the same with me, that name pops into your head, and it sparks a memory of both. Where did that guy go? What happened to that guy? And wow, that guy was electric and kind of a. I don't want to say one hit wonder because he was good for 2 years. He was very good for 2 years. But he made Hawaii football relevant, which is really hard to do. If you look here, also they went 12-1 this year in 2007. This team was really good. I forget. I forget who they lost to in the Sugar Bowl, but they went 12-1. Really good. I think Colt Brennan he was almost a Heisman winner. Like he was electric. If you look at the actual jersey, I'm a big fan of black and green. And I'm sure I'll have other picks this season that will follow that same mantra. But if you look, the black and green just kind of works because it's that darker green. And it's just kind of a cool blackout look. Plus, if you look on the helmet, the helmet, first of all, is sick. I love like the chrome look to it. Plus the Hawaii tribal pattern going up the stripe. Awesome. I don't know what's going on with that left leg, that diamond pattern on only one leg on the pants, but I'll let it go because this takes me back to watching on Christmas Eve the Hawaii Bowl where Hawaii was playing who knows. I remember watching this team on Christmas Eve because that was just a game. And again, it might just be a one-off memory, but I remember these jerseys, and I remember how Colt Brennan was just. I don't want to call him a flash in the pan because he did light up college football, but he was such a phenomenon that just kind of disappeared. That he's like, if you're a college football fan, you just when you think Colt Brennan, it just sparks memories, and it's the name because it's a very very specific name,
Yeah.
and dude, he was one of the first guys that pulled out the visor, you
Yeah.
know, like and the visor
Yeah. For
he
that
made the
era.
visor look cool.
And a T's and P's RIP, Colt Brennan. But loved using them on NCAA. Like
Oh,
just because they did have such sick jerseys all the time, and Colt Brennan, like you said, for sure put them on the map. And like
they've been
this is just one of
irrelevant
the
since him.
well, and I think like everybody like loves, even if you haven't been there, like at least loves the idea of Hawaii just like for the place that it is. So like but you just see it as like a vacation spot. Like you don't think of them for football, but I think like it's one of those things that everybody in unison thinks like it would be really cool if they were super good at a sport. And Colt Brennan did that
Mhm.
with that team. Now, like you said, kind of flash in the pan. It was a short period of time, but like it's not just dudes screaming at each other. Look at that! Look at that! Oh, like they're doing that before a football game and taking somebody's head off and
Mhm.
then going to celebrate. They're putting a lei on, get a hula skirt, and
Roasting a pig.
roasting the pig, and or maybe not. Like they might just be going and grabbing McDonald's or something.
Yeah.
But regardless, it's a cool thought to think that such a cool place could have such a cool team with such cool jerseys. Like you just want them. Like I root for them to be awesome all the time, and even if they don't play like it, they certainly look like it. And this is one of those looks.
Yeah, this is one of those jerseys where I would so pay $200 for a Colt Brennan jersey because it's something that like if I were to go to like I said just a random football game party, just go to a bar. I'm not, and I don't do it for the compliments. I do it, for the culture, of course. I'm a big
Oh, of
sports
course.
culture guy now, but like, but, but like, it's such a unique and like such a throwback thing that like I would totally spend money on a throwback Colt Brennan Hawaii jersey because like these things they're cool, man, and like they're not super flashy. They're just kind of cool. I throw out the leg, get rid of the leg. That's some Power Rangers BS going on down there.
Yeah,
But
is
like
that actually part of the uniform, or is that like he put a wrap
I
on
think
or
I
something?
think it was. If I recall, it was part of the uniform. I think that's the only knock I have against it.
Told me.
The jersey itself, sick. That's the only thing I can really pick apart on this. So
And I mean that's really all there is to because aside from that,
fire,
pretty tough uni, dude.
yeah, tough. Uh, going to Ben.
Dude, our transitions, man.
Mm.
College football to college football. Okay, listen. You knew a homer pick was coming, so stop complaining while your head. Not you, Smalls, just people watching. Like you knew that a homer pick was on its way. Okay, and as kind of an ode to Smalls being the college football fan that he is, I figured, hey, let's throw one in there. This team, specifically this player who was wearing these uniforms, or made me fall in love with college football and made me the addict that I am today, that I get to watch our college football show hosted by Smalls and Deke, and flourishing because I actually know what's going on thanks to this team who wore this uniform. Okay, Larry Fitz, he's up there with the Marinos and the Dorsets and Aaron Donald is coming to the conversation. Curtis Martin, these guys that are like potentially best Pitt Panther in any sport of all time, right? Like legendary. Dude was the Biletnikoff winner this year in 2003. He was also the Heisman runner-up as a wide receiver, which is very impressive. At Pitt,
yeah,
you know what I mean? And I know that a lot of people look back on these uniforms in infamy because we came so close to being elite. And some people think they're ugly, but to me, this was college football when I started paying attention. Okay. It was all that there's even fonts and scripts that are called like college script or college print or whatever. This was like classic college, like this jersey was probably made by Russell, I would assume, or something like that. In that realm.
It's Nike, but
okay. Well, it looks like this
era.
was like an earlier, it fit the time, that early 2000s. Like, if you told me they were a high school, I'd probably believe you. Like that type hometown rah football look.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, big bold Pittsburgh on the front with the number that was fat, and then the gold helmets. Bold Georgia Techie, but bold, and then with the hand-drawn panther on the side of the helmet. Okay, that was, to me, like, as a little kid, I'm roaring, like, watching them go out onto the field. The blue and the gold, was close to our school's color scheme in high school.
Mm-hmm.
So like that played for me too, and things like that. But like, I love, I'm a big Pittsburgh guy, so I love us branding Pittsburgh right across the jersey and the panther on the helmet. I'll be honest, part of me kind of misses the logo. I'll be 100% transparent, but that's growing up as a Pitt fan. But this, I think, I'm not saying was perfect in general, but for the era and for the look that kind of everybody was going with, there's a lot of schools that go with the same color jersey and same color pants now, but like the two tones of the navy and gold, now it's like a lighter blue and a yellow that we went back to. But for the navy and gold era, I think this is like the toughest look. And to me, this uniform, this team is what cemented me. Like, I'm a Pitt fan for life.
Yeah. So I have a few things. I'm gonna get my
from
Pitt
the Iron City.
Iron City. So I'm gonna get the Pitt slander out of the way first. First and foremost, I'm gonna get it out of the way. There are two big travesties in Pitt football history. The logo, or I guess it was more of a university thing. This logo, the bear / blob / panther looking thing, but it doesn't look like a panther. Like, come on, y'all at least could have gone closer to like the Carolina Panther look. This was a bad logo.
Except this one's mean. That one's a pansy panther.
I understand, so that was one devastating moment for the program. The other one was when the coaching staff was outfitted by Aeropostale. That's kind of a black eye. I'm just gonna leave that out there.
Okay, well, we are not going to get into black eyes of school.
I know. Programs. I'm not gonna. Hey, I'm just as far as the uniforms go. Okay, we're gonna stick to sports. Stick to sports.
You want to open up
I don't want to. I don't want to.
I got a can opener already.
I know, and I'm not gonna get into that because I know, and I'm not gonna argue with you. That aside. I know exactly why you picked this, because when I think Pitt football, I think this. Because I grew up in the same time you did, in the same city that you did, same area, and this is what I remember too. It was a shocker last year, and I'm gonna say it again. Pitt basketball was my team because Penn State was awful. And I hated everything else about Pitt, especially the football team, because I grew up a Penn State football fan. But Pitt basketball team was my team, so when I think Pitt, that's what I think of. I think this color scheme, this logo, and I get it. The other thing, kind of off topic from the jerseys, Ben, how much of a travesty was it that Kenny Pickett, A, did not win the Heisman, and B, came in third for the Heisman? That's a travesty.
Well, I knew that he was going to come up short, and a lot of it is because he went to Pitt, which is honestly what I think also happened to Larry Fitzgerald this year.
That sucks, though. That sucks, though, because Dude, my whole point with the Heisman, and I've already made this argument. It is so every other year it's been the best story outside of Marcus Mariota back in whatever year he won it. Other year it's been the story. Whether you look at Baker Mayfield, Lamar Jackson, Devontae Smith, no matter what it is, it's the story. So why this year did they change how they voted? Because Kenny Pickett, frankly, I think was a much more electric quarterback than Bryce Young. I don't
More fun to watch.
I don't know if
I'll tell you that.
yeah, I don't know if I want to get into an argument of whether or not Kenny Pickett was better than Bryce Young because I don't really know. But what I will say is I had more fun watching Kenny Pickett. I was pulling for Kenny Pickett was awesome. Like I was pulling
Yeah.
for him, and I said that on the
Pittsburgh
show.
hero.
I said that on the college football show with me and
Yeah, I remember.
I was a big Kenny Pickett guy, and I think he got robbed. At the very least, he should have gotten more votes than he did.
Well,
Yeah.
and I think he led the country in fan votes.
Yeah,
The
because he was
fan votes
awesome.
across the country. And two, this was Pitt's best finish since what, Smalls? 90 or 80
No,
something maybe?
Well, was it that long? Because they
In
had
the
a few.
AP rankings. No, it was
Was it?
like with
Okay.
how we finished the year in AP rankings was like since
Mm-hmm. Like
like
almost Marino,
long,
almost
like
Marino, if not
yeah, like
Marino.
decades ago. So like it's to me, I feel like you said, if it is the story, he should have won because
Mhm.
too, like, I mean, aren't you tired of seeing Alabama win everything?
That's what I'm saying, man.
You know, like why not give it to somebody else who was incredible and took a team that you never hear about being seriously considered as a contender to that level of spotlight. But I mean, I'm not going to dive super deep into it. But hey, Kenny, we love you, Kenny.
Love you, Kenny.
Love you.
Dude, I will get.
You want to be the next man? That's okay. I'll welcome you back, Kenny.
So like I know the Steelers aren't going to do it. I don't know if it's a smart thing to do, but I wouldn't be mad. Let me put it this way: I don't care if it's an instant gratification thing. I wouldn't be mad if the Steelers traded up and got Kenny Pickett as a quarterback. I would embrace it. I would embrace it.
Who's to say he doesn't drop?
Yeah.
Who's to say he doesn't drop? Lamar dropped.
Mm-hmm.
Brady Quinn dropped. Now Brady Quinn didn't do much, but he was supposed to be a top 5 pick. He falls to 22nd, I think, in the year he got drafted. Like star quarterbacks that are supposed to get taken high can drop.
Yep.
So
And they do
who's
often.
to say that doesn't happen?
Yeah.
Yeah, you never know.
But yeah, so not only that too, I do think that his shotgun celebration, that was
Dude.
awesome. Elite,
Yeah.
so fun. Just electric all around. And
Well, and let's not forget that the first time that this dude really takes over the role of being the starter, he beats the number 2 seed in the country, which is Miami at the time, the last time they were good,
yeah.
and ran and threw all over them and was like, hey, it's Kenny Pickett time now. Pay attention.
Yep.
You know?
I also think he's going to be the best rookie coming out because I've heard this argument before. He's like, the comparison's escaping me, but he had to work for it. Joe Burrow, that's who it was. He had to work for it, and he developed the mental side first, and then developed the actual ability to put her on a rope to a receiver. I think he's gonna have, I think, a very good pro career. On top of that, too,
Can you explain to me why pro teams are saying there's no good QBs coming out of this class? Because I feel like between Corral, Pickett, potentially Ritter,
Malik Willis, dude. Malik Willis, I think is going to be a phenom.
And Malik Willis, I didn't pay attention to because he goes to a school that has, I think, a population of like 6 students. But I didn't know who he was until people started saying that he might be a Heisman candidate. Then I started looking this kid up and trying to watch Liberty games, and I'm like, oh my god, dude's actually an animal. But that's what I mean. Like, to me, I feel like a good QB class coming out of this, and everybody's acting like the NFL needs to just harvest its veterans. Like, dude, you're getting some good young talent, I think.
I think it's sparse. I think what I'll say is, I think Pickett and Willis are definitely, I think, if I had to put money on it, I would say those two are going to be the ones that have the most success. Matt Corral had the benefit of Lane Kiffin just opening up the playbook, and just doing whatever he wanted. So I get that, but I don't know. Also, to those people out there complaining about Kenny Pickett's fake slide, get out of here, dude.
That's
Get
one
out
of
of
the coolest
here.
plays in football history. They literally the next day had to make a rule to ban it because it was like no one had ever done that.
I think the last guy to do it was like Vic or something.
Yeah.
Like I think Vic used to do it or something. But like, why punish him? I'm not gonna go down that rabbit hole. You're a narc. You're a narc if you think
Yeah.
that rule that should actually
Dark
be a
star.
rule. And the only last thing I'll say, we got real off topic there. The last thing I'm gonna say, I love the new pit colors. I love the new pit script.
They're better. They're better for sure. Yeah.
I know why you picked this though, because we're doing nostalgia. So like I get it,
Yeah.
and I appreciate it. So,
Well, and we covered, I think the home jerseys for Pitt last year that I put up there,
yeah.
and their black and gold city edition.
Mm-hmm.
But that font, dude, the cathedral. Oh, dude, it's so good.
As a guy that
That's-
hates Pitt, that is
Yeah,
fire.
to me, like I thought, like okay, even if we suck this year, we're gonna look good.
Mhm.
And that's how I feel about Pitt basketball. Pitt
Yep.
basketball is awful right now.
Yep.
And I mean, I feel bad because I love Jeff Capel, but they just
Give
don't
him a
have
few
the talent.
years. Yeah, I'll just give him a few years, But all right, we got off topic on that one, but that's why we love the show. So,
Anyway, Smallsy, give me your third pick, brother.
all right. Hey, we transitioned so well, man. So I'm gonna go.
Look at that. Pitt the Pit, baby.
So I'm gonna go with the '95 Pittsburgh Penguins. I believe at the time these were actually alternates. But this is the Yinzer special right now. Right here. This is the Yinzer special. This is the jersey that the guy coming home from the auto shop in the Berg has in his closet. This is quintessential Pittsburgh. Now, if you look on the shoulder, the RoboPen gets a lot of flack. But if you refer to last season, what I'll say about the RoboPen is as Brandon Moon pointed out, there's a lot more going on than what you actually think. It's literally the shape of a penguin on it, almost on its belly, with just the yellow triangle beside it. I have a much greater appreciation for the RoboPen logo now. Also, the diagonal lettering is awesome and super iconic because you look at it and it's one of those things that this was the Penguins back in the 90s. Jaromir Jagr put that franchise on his back, though, for years. Whenever Mario was, dealing with the stuff he had to deal with, and obviously Yager's a legend, but even just the jersey, this is a Yinzer special, and this was one of those jerseys that I saw and I've seen over the years. It's built into the fabric of growing up in Pittsburgh or outside of Pittsburgh, around Pittsburgh, whatever you want to call it. This is part of being a Yinzer. Part of being from Pittsburgh is jerseys like this. Because we grew up, obviously when they won the back-to-back cups back in the 90s, we weren't alive yet, but they carried on the legacy for years, even when they were bad, and with guys like Yager and, who's the other guy? There was a Russian dude. I can't remember his name, but like they had some dudes back in the 90s that were incredible. And I mean, obviously the haircut is Diesel. It's incredible.
Absolute ethanol. Gase.
But the tubing, obviously incredible down by the wrist. I'm super happy that they brought this back with the reverse retro. They tried to kind of flip it last year with the white. I don't think it works as well as with the black. But I'm glad they brought it back because it's a super iconic jersey worn by, especially this guy, a super iconic player. And like I said, it's one of those things that I don't want to say this jersey is the reason, but it is like just a culmination. It's this and a combination of other things that makes me proud to be from Pittsburgh because the sports in Pittsburgh are just unmatched. The sports culture in Pittsburgh and the fanhood are just unmatched. And I'll leave it at that, but this is a classic.
Yeah, dude. And I mean, I'm actually kind of a fan that they brought it back,
Yeah.
like in the white, because we get to see it at a different, like just swapped, But the Robo pen up on the shoulder, the sash of Pittsburgh pride from shoulder to hip, like you said, man. I mean, this is a working class man's jersey.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this was something cool that you could wear at the time while showing, hey, I'm from a hockey town and I'm from a blue collar town. I work off my keister and I come home and I watch a Pens beat the dog shit out of the Flyers. Like that is what this is. And to have that be one of like the first looks for us growing up, and I mean we were destined to love hockey regardless because of where we were born and where we grew up. But like this helps, and I think that everybody can kind of agree that the Pens are one of the coolest franchises of all time, and this is a large part of that history.
Yeah, yeah, and I also love how when was it back in 2016 or I think it was 16 when they went back to those original colors. That to me was like a no-brainer. I was always okay. I was always okay with that gold, that darker gold, but you gotta Pittsburgh's one of those. Yeah.
This is the rich decadence of the city.
Mm-hmm.
Like you gotta go with this. And two, I mean, we've brought this up before. Look at the other two pro franchises in the city. You got to be unified.
Yep.
And not all cities, but ours does because we're just built like that. All right. The black and the more yellowish gold just plays. It pops more and it fits the city better. So I don't know, man. I think that this is immaculate. Wonderful pick. Great way to cap off our picks for episode 1, season 2.
Season 2. All right, that's a wrap. Gonna pop this on the screen because
great addition.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, gonna take a little screenshot of this guy and put it on social. But to recap, I'm looking at yours. Obviously, your Coyotes pick is elite. I really love the Rays pick, and while the logo, I think by many is considered trash. I understand why you put it in there because it's nostalgic and it makes you think of a better time with Pitt football. Now they were good this year, I know, but this is when you got into college football and you smashed it this week. Episode 1, you smashed it.
Thank you, sire, and same to you. Look at the heat you put down there.
Yeah. I mean, dude, Colt Brennan, I definitely the only one from like this millennium. But it was during the time frame where I got really into college football, and I haven't looked back since. It made me think of.
There's no limits to this. There's no parameters.
Yeah.
This is what's nostalgic to you, man, and that's perfect.
I almost put down like a LeVar Arrington jersey, but I was like, man, there's just not much to talk about with the Penn State. Yeah, outside of you put white trim, and I love that we've kept it simple. I love that. But there's just not much to talk about. I would have said, "Hey, look at that white trim," and that would have been it. So, but great picks overall, Benny. It's good to be back.
It's so good to be back. It is. I just like that relief that the build up for the show is over. We're here, and now. It's go time, baby. I mean, we are just on to the next. Like, I'm very happy we got this first episode. I think it was perfect topic, perfect timing for us to get back into the swing of things. And I'll tell you what, though, just at the end of this episode, like, I know it was clean. I'm going to watch it back, but I don't even need to. Like, I know this is fine, and I'm just like on to the next, man. I am so ready to keep this season rolling, and with all the stuff that we have to unleash on the public in a good way. I'm so pumped, dude. I'm so thrilled to be back. I appreciate you letting me be back with you again for another year, and that we get the best show that TFTB has to offer back on the air.
Yeah.
So I'm pumped for that.
Yeah. No, well, it's good to be back. That sigh of relief was for a reason, because we're back. And like you said, dude, it was clean. I felt like we didn't miss a beat. You
Not
know,
one.
I
Not
thought
one.
I thought maybe it might take, maybe an episode or two for us to really.
I was genuinely kind of like worried that it might be awkward, but then I was like, oh no, dude, we're just guys being dudes,
Dude, just
and
guys
here
being
we are.
dudes. Yeah, just a few yinzers on a show, talking sports, talking memories. That's all that matters. Benny, I'm gonna cheers you before we head out. You already crushed that one, so I'm gonna.
Yeah, I got to be honest. I was trying to limit myself, but I'll get a
Yeah,
drop out.
I kept it to one glass. I kept it to one. That's all that matters.
Yeah, because I figured like if we were gonna keep now, I mean there was a few swears, but I feel like a lot less than
Yeah, a
usual.
lot
But I
less.
figured if I'm gonna keep that at a minimum, I should probably do the same with my drinks.
Yep.
So, hey, at the vault we're wild, but we're responsible.
Yep.
Okay,
Hey, we try to
we are.
be.
Hey, possibly new slogan, new shirt, responsibly wild. That's
I'm gonna write that one
I.
down right now.
Hey, I think that we could possibly coin that for the boys here at the vault.
Responsibly. Well, hey, Deke, we tried. It wasn't easy, but we tried it. We had a few slip ups. But dude, I'm telling, on draft day, Alex just goes off the wall and he swears nonstop, and we all do, just because it's kind of built into us. But hey, we caught ourselves a few times. We did a good job.
Oh yeah,
We tried.
we did a good job with the verbal net. I
Yeah.
think trying to catch ourselves, pull ourselves back. We did. You know what? We did great.
Hey,
Okay, we did just
yeah,
fine.
yeah. We did fine. We didn't do just fine. We hammered it.
Hammered it.
Hammer down. Guys, this has been The Vault. Thank you for tuning in. The weekly show that takes a look at some of the best and worst jerseys in sports. Benny, it's so glad to be back. I got goosebumps because we're back.
Hey, I am gonna have a very peaceful, happy, serendipitous moment right now in telling you and everybody watching that we'll see you next week.
See you next week. All right. Peace, guys.